the next one.
Sure.
Wicked Part 2 is shaking things up big time, character roles, main setting, number of songs, and more. And it's already making changes, starting with the title. Universal Pictures has officially renamed the sequel Wicked for Good. This chapter, covering the second act of the iconic Broadway show, is set to hit theaters on November 21, 2025. Wicked Part 1 hit theaters on November 22 and has raked in over $735 million globally so far. It now holds the record as the highest-grossing Broadway adaptation at the domestic box office, as well as on the worldwide stage, leaving 2008's Mamma Mia with $611 million behind. Jon M is at the helm of the two-part Wicked spectacle, starring Ariana Grande, Cynthia Erivo, Jeff Goldblum, Michelle Yeoh, and Jonathan Bailey. The story unfolds before, during, and after The Wizard of Oz, exploring the backstory of Grande's Glinda, who later becomes Glinda the Good, and Erivo's Elphaba, who eventually takes on the title of the Wicked Witch of the West before Dorothy ever sets foot in Oz. Part 1 focuses on Glinda and Elphaba's time at Shiz University, where they are forced to be roommates but end up forming a deep friendship. The second movie picks up with Elphaba embracing her powers, now branded as a public enemy by the wizard, Goldblum, and Madame Horrible, Yeoh. The sequel's new title, Wicked for Good, comes from the emotional Act 2 song that reflects how their friendship changes them forever. Chu teased what's to come, telling Variety that the next installment is a doozy, at least when it comes to emotions. I did not know the context of where we'd be in society right now. It becomes 8 times more relevant than before when you're talking about truth and consequences of making the right or wrong choices, he said. It's intense. Wicked 2 is going to be intense and very different from the first movie. One of the biggest changes, Elphaba and Glinda won't be spending much time together. In Wicked Part 1, their relationship was front and center, helped by the fact that they were roommates at Shiz University. This setup allowed for plenty of fun moments, personality clashes, and heartfelt friendship building, but in Part 2, things shift dramatically. Now that Elphaba is on the run, she can't risk casual meetups with her friends or family, including Glinda. The two will only share a few powerful, emotionally charged scenes, focused on conflict or reconciliation rather than lighthearted bonding. While there's a chance the sequel could include a flashback to their time together, in the main timeline, they'll rarely be in the same place. Another big change, Wicked 2 won't be spending much time at Shiz University. In Part 1, Shiz was the main setting, making it easy for Elphaba and Glinda's friendship to grow naturally. The movie leaned into classic boarding school vibes, magical lessons, rivalries turning into friendships, fun night outs, and all that. But school doesn't last forever, and now it's time for the characters to step into the real world. If Part 2 follows the Broadway show's second act, there's a time jump. Elphaba has basically dropped out while the others have moved on. Glinda is now a spokesperson, Fiyero, Jonathan Bailey, is captain of the guard, and Nessa Rose, Marissa Bode, is the governor of Munchkinland. Instead of one main location like Shiz, the story moves around, especially with Elphaba constantly on the run. The tone also shifts, less comfort and familiarity and more uncertainty, even though there were always hints of something dark lurking beneath the surface at Shiz. Moving to another major change, Wicked 2 will feature brand new original songs. It's already been confirmed that Part 2 will add at least 2 original tracks to the soundtrack. Since the sequel has a longer runtime, extra music was needed to keep the pacing just right. The first movie already packed in plenty of big musical numbers, so it makes sense that the second half would introduce even more. We've already seen a hint of this. One Short Day in Part 1 included a surprise new section sung by Idina Menzel and Kristen Chenoweth in their magical cameo. Now, all eyes are on the new songs that Stephen Schwartz, the original Broadway composer, is creating for Part 2. On top of that, Cynthia Erivo has teased a song she co-wrote for the sequel, which seems to be another emotional solo ballad for Elphaba. Schwartz has a huge challenge ahead, crafting new songs that can hold their own next to legendary ones that fans have loved for over 20 years. But with Erivo delivering another powerhouse performance, expectations are sky high. Also, Wicked 2 won't have as many large-scale musical numbers. The first movie was packed with big ensemble moments, from What Is This Feeling to Dancing Through Life and One Short Day. But the second half of the story naturally has fewer of these huge show-stopping sequences. While director Jon M and his team have already proven that they can stage incredible musical set pieces, fans shouldn't expect as many in the sequel. That said, there's always a chance that one of the new songs could be an ensemble number, or that some of the shorter group songs from the Broadway show will be expanded. On stage, the biggest Act 2 musical moment is Thank Goodness, where Glinda reassures the people of Oz while Elphaba remains at large. March of the Witch Hunters has some dramatic flair but is relatively short, and the finale is just a reprise of No One Mourns the Wicked. While Wicked 2 may not have back-to-back bangers like Part 1, it will still deliver emotionally powerful songs that fit the darker, more intense tone of the story. Another unexpected twist? Nessarose and Bach will both, at least to some extent, be villains in Wicked 2. While the wizard Jeff Goldblum and Madame Morrible Michelle Yeoh are still the main antagonists, Nessarose and Bach Ethan Slater also take darker turns. Their choices, driven by love and desperation, end up making them obstacles for Elphaba as well. It all starts with Glinda pushing Bach to date Elphaba's younger sister, Nessarose, just to get him off her case. But the relationship is one-sided. Bach doesn't actually love Nessa, and that dynamic sets them both on dangerous paths. Nessa, who technically rules Munchkin Land, becomes a controlling leader obsessed with keeping Bach close to her. She eventually earns the title of Wicked Witch of the East. Meanwhile, Bach, bitter and resentful, blames Elphaba for his transformation into the Tin Man and even leads a mob against her. Another major shift is that Wicked 2 will overlap more with The Wizard of Oz. While most of Wicked is a prequel exploring the backstories of Elphaba, Glinda, and other key characters before Dorothy arrives in Oz, the timeline eventually catches up to the classic story. The first movie starts in sequel territory, with Glinda addressing the Munchkins after the Wicked Witch's reported death. She even mentions that the wizard has already left Oz, tying into the 1939 film's plot where he accidentally leaves Dorothy behind. From there, though, the story rewinds to Elphaba and Glinda's school days. But Part 2 shifts gears. If it follows the Broadway show, the turning point happens around midway through the movie when a scheme to lure Elphaba out of hiding results in Nessarose's death, marking Dorothy's arrival in Oz. From that moment on, Elphaba's focus turns to reclaiming her sister's shoes, which are now in Dorothy's possession. At this stage, Wicked 2 stops feeling like just a prequel and becomes more of a Wizard of Oz reimagining, with Dorothy's journey unfolding in the background while Elphaba's story takes center stage. And finally, yes, Wicked 2 will officially feature Dorothy. Dorothy has been teased in the movie's marketing, including the trailers, but her face was never shown and her casting is still a mystery. Well, that's it for today. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe because we'll be covering more updates on this soon and other exciting upcoming movies and series. See you next time!